Hey everyone, it's Erin from the Impatient Gardener. It is winter. We are back to indoor videos. It pains me as much as it pains you, I assure you. We're still working on sprucing up the indoor situation here. Not sure what's happening behind me. We'll work on it, see if we can't nail it by the time we can start making videos outside again. Today I want to do a very quick Q&A. Mostly I'm here to get to some postcards that have been sent recently, and some I found that we missed. So if I've been missing your postcard, I might have just found it. Before we get to that, first of all, this was one of my Christmas gifts. I had asked for this. This is a book. This is The Gardener's Guide to Prairie Plants. This was recommended by multiple people who I follow on Instagram. So it was bought used. Clearly there's a zip tie in it. I see this more as like a reference book. It's not a book you sit down and read, but it's got all the main prairie plants in here. I haven't actually looked through it too much. There is some information in here about making prairies and maintaining prairies and stuff like that. I am less concerned about that than I am about having a really good reference guide to various prairie plants. So just in case you're interested, that's that book that I got. All right, we're going to hit up a couple of questions very quickly. I don't have a lot of them because, as you know, I took a little bit of a break making videos in December. So there aren't a bunch to get to, and I'm not going to bother with questions from Christmas stuff because we've all moved on, right? The last two videos, though, that I have done, well, first of all, there are a couple of questions that are left over from the live that I did on New Year's Day, which was so much fun. I enjoyed it. Several people there encouraged me to do maybe monthly lives. We might try to make that a point. I had a fabulous time. I think people did too. We were on there for 2 hours, which was twice as long as I expected to be. So I don't know, maybe we'll keep doing those. Let me know in the comments if you would tune into something like that and you think we should get on with that. The other videos that we had were a winter tour, which was when everything was warm, and now it's not. It's all changing. We knew that would happen. And then I had sort of a garden jobs you really need to do video, which we worked on. This is the last one that came out. So a few quick questions here. Hi, Erin. I'm in zone 7A. I still move all my boxwoods and geraniums into my little room next to the garage, but after last year, I lost all my geraniums because they were on the floor. But your great idea for the foam board for the pots to sit on was great. I'm going to Lowe's tomorrow to get some. Thanks for the tip. So yeah, in that video, I showed how I store my containerized shrubs and stuff in our unheated garage, but I stick foam board insulation underneath all of them just to add a little bit of actual protection from the bottom, but also so that those pots don't freeze to the cement floor. And having anything sitting on a cement floor without a barrier is usually not a good idea. Cement just tends to just suck all the moisture out of things. So Elizabeth, I'm glad that was helpful. Couple of questions for you. Is the grass that you're standing in when you started the video the Millennia that you mentioned at about 1:10? Now this is in the tour video. Yes, it is. It's still standing up tall and beautiful. Millennia transparent. I have it in other places in the garden. I think I mentioned this in the video. I started in that area with 3. Last year I moved 1. This coming spring I'm going to move another one because they've bulked up enough that I don't need to have 3 of them there anymore. I bought those as maybe like they were deep, but only 3 inches deep pots that were only about 3 inches wide from Digging Dog, I think. And so this big, planted in 2020, and they're all this big now. So let that be a little lesson to us about how great planting from what is essentially plugs or small plants can be. Another question was, what granular do you use for deer? Which I answered in the video that we just put up, which was I was using deer scram, and also I use Repelzol in that video. I also sometimes use plant skid, but usually if I'm going to use plant skid, I use the spray rather than the granular. We have some ash trees that the tops came down on, leaving a big trunk. Do you think I could plant a climbing hydrangea on it? Or am I risking the whole thing rotting and falling just as the hydrangea gets up there and pretty? Can I plant a climbing hydrangea on a live tree? And this person is thinking basswood. Yes, yes, and yes. My big climbing hydrangea, the one that I've had longer than, well, I have 2 of them. This is the oldest of them. All the ones I've planted have lived. That one was planted on a live ash tree, which subsequently died, and we chopped off the top of it, and it grows, the stump is about, what's left is a 30-foot stump, basically. That climbing hydrangea is so mature now, and the stems on it are quite huge, that I actually think that that might, when that trunk degrades enough, I actually think it might be the thing that holds it upright. It'll be a long time before I have to worry about it, I think. So all of the answers to those questions are yes. Yes, you can plant a climbing hydrangea on a mature live tree. Many people do it. It's a beautiful look. You can also plant it on an ash that the tops come down on. As long as, I mean, if it's already starting to show signs of being real wobbly, maybe you don't want to do that, because climbing hydrangeas are extremely slow growing. Joan of Arc 6402 says, Erin, please, while it's cold, can you show us how to plan a large garden bed? As in picking colors, shrubs, how to lay out plants for height and bloom time, how many annuals? That's like more than one video for sure. But yes, I think we're going to get into that. I've sort of alluded to this in the live. I am working on a garden design project this year that I am able to share with you. So it's not here. So we can talk through some of those things. I will just say that Yulia at it's Why Garden, Why Do You Garden, but that's actually not her YouTube name. If you type in Why Do You Garden or Why Garden into the YouTube search, you will find her channel. She's done a design series in the past, and it's very, very helpful. And she's like an actual certified garden designer. So very helpful there. And I have one other garden design video that I've used, which is sort of the non-professional garden designer's way to design a garden. I'll put a link to that in the description as well, if that's helpful. And I will put a link to Yulia's channel in there as well. Jill Simpson says, oh, this was really nice, actually. So the last video with the deer repellent and everything kind of turned into just a comedy of errors. I have to say, I love all of you so much. Everyone laughs with me. I mean, it's a very, very cordial group. Everybody gets my jokes, which is not always the case in my life. Everybody, laughs along with me when things go wrong, and just kind of, recognizes that it's sort of real life, real gardening kind of stuff, and seems to appreciate it. And I appreciate all of you for having that perspective. Anyway, so this was Jill saying, she says, you're very relatable and you make me want to be a more natural gardener. You're someone I want to hang out with. That is like the nicest compliment. And I assure you, I would love to hang out with all of you too. Diane S. Berry says, with your evergreens, do you ever have issues with bagworms? I live in north central Texas where they seem to get on anything evergreen, even roses. Would you have a suggestion on getting rid of them? Bagworms are disgusting. I've had just a small amount of tent caterpillars and bagworms. I've had a little bit of experience with them. And what I do with them is exactly what Stacy Hervella, who's the horticulturist at Proven Winners Color Choice Shrubs, you should check out their podcast, which is actually up as a YouTube video every Saturday morning. It's a Gardening Simplified podcast. She always has good information. She's talked about this a couple of times on the podcast. She gives the same information that is the practice that I do, which is just rip open the tent, the webbing. Rip that open, and then with a pole or a stick or whatever you need to, and then the birds should take care of the problem from there. So if you've got a good bird population in your yard, just kind of rip that open and then walk away, and the birds should take care of it for you. It's worked out quite well for me, but I am going to say it's disgusting for sure. That is it for the questions. I didn't want to linger too long on those because we do have quite a few postcards to get to here. Now, you guys, some of this got real messy down here. The only reason I knew I had missed postcards is because I got a postcard from the suburban gardening couple, Katie and Matt, and said, this is the second postcard we've sent you, and you must not have gotten our first one. And I thought, that's weird. Where did that go? And so I went looking, and I found a whole stack of them. So I think we're starting with the old ones here. Again, my apologies. I feel terrible that all of you went out of your way to send these and they got missed. So hopefully I'm grabbing all of them now. The good news is these are all evergreen. And if you don't know what the postcard thing is all about, for about a year now, I've been doing what I'm calling sort of the garden postcard project, in which I'm asking gardeners to send me postcards or letters, whatever. But postcards are great, from or about gardens that they visited and something that they found inspirational at them. Because the best part about, going to gardens and being inspired by them is sharing that with all our gardening friends. I consider you all my gardening friends. I consider this a big group of gardening friends. So I love to share these with all of you. And I thank you all so much for sending them. We've had them from around the world. It's amazing. I love this project so much. So I'm actually going to start with Katie and Matt's old postcard, since they're the ones who alerted me to the issue to go looking for the problem. Anyway. Hi, Erin. We've been holding out on sending a postcard until we made it to Tulip Time Festival in Holland, Michigan. Oh, these are really old. I'm very sorry. We visited the festival for the second time on Sunday, May 7th. It was a gorgeous, sunny, 66-degree day. We went on a historic walking tour and visited Tulip Immersion Garden. This festival started in 1928 with 100,000 tulip bulbs being planted and now has grown to 6 million throughout the city. 6 million. Bulbs are sourced from the Netherlands. Highly recommend a visit to this festival at least once. That is amazing. Thank you, Katie and Matt. Hi, Erin. I'm a big fan of your channel. This is, this is what I've been missing on. This is from Japan. Hi, Erin. I'm a big fan of your channel and lovely garden. Excited to send a postcard from my home country, Japan's Nezu Museum. This little gem is in the middle of Tokyo, but so peaceful. The irises are in full bloom now. Can't wait to try irises in my garden in New Jersey as a reminder of home. Oh, that's really sweet. Best, Fumiko. Oh, this is so amazing. Sent from Japan. Thank you. Here's the picture. What an absolute treasure that is, with a gorgeous cherry blossom stamp on it. Erin, we visited 3 old beautiful gardens on Lake Como. This was our favorite. Oh, I would like to go to Lake Como. We were lucky to see the garden in spring. Imagine mountains layered down to evergreens, azaleas, and rhodies on a steep slope ending with a lake. Stunningly beautiful and very old. It made me think of the quote, "A society grows great when old men and women plant trees in whose shade they will never sit under." Love your channel, Meg Jarvie. And then she says, you must go to Lake Como. I fully agree. Thank you, Meg. Thank you so much for sending that. Hey, Erin, the angel oak is a must-see if you are visiting the Low Country. The mere size and beauty of angel oak takes your breath away. This was not signed, but this is the angel oak. This is a live oak. See, now I feel like maybe I read this one. I know we've done something on a live oak before. I have been to, this is the angel oak, which is on Johns Island in South Carolina. Have been to South Carolina before. I was down there, we were in Charleston, and it was fabulous. I did not get to Johns Island. As luck and paying attention to the website cherryblossomwatch.com would have it, my husband and I hit peak bloom in D.C. last month. The scene greeted us after we hiked the Mount Vernon Trail from D.C. to the Tidal Basin early in the morning. Very beautiful. This is from Pam, and this is absolutely glorious. I was out in that area last year close to cherry blossom season, and I didn't quite hit it right, so I didn't get to see them. Hi, Erin. I went to Kugenhof for the tulips, and they were outstanding. However, I was more inspired by the many other bulbs that are less attractive to deer and happy to be in the woods. Fun fact, Kugenhof plants 3 bulbs per hole, early, middle, and late season. Kugenhof, I have to tell you, I feel like I'd like to go just to see it. I don't know that it's not certainly something it's not one of those things I would bring home to my own garden, but certainly a spectacle to be seen. This is from Diane. Thank you so much, Diane, for sending that. Hello, Erin. My love of gardening began on a golf course at the age of 10. I am now approaching 70 and I can now find time to do what I love. These postcards from Augusta National are my inspiration to figure out how to get that beautiful natural look. I won't even attempt the greens and fairways. Those greenskeepers at Augusta are magicians with a huge budget. It's still my inspiration and is just as pretty in person as these postcards show. Another bucket list for you to visit, Gibbs Gardens. Go to gibbsgardens.com for a glimpse. You too are an inspiration. This is from Lori. Thank you so much, Lori. Oh yeah, here we go. These are, I mean, I think if you've ever watched like the Masters, you've seen the, as they say on TV, the azaleas. Anyway, very beautiful. And I love that Lori found inspiration on a golf course. Hi, Erin. Thank you for encouraging us to go find postcards of places that inspired us in our gardens. We had been planning for 15 months a trip to North Carolina and Washington, D.C. Went to the Botanical Gardens in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and found the Smithsonian Botanical Garden in D.C. But alas, neither of them sold postcards of their inspiring garden. Instead, I present to you what I did find. The postcard itself is of the cherry blossoms in D.C. that came in a pack of 10 pack of postcards. We sadly missed the blossoms around the tidal basin. The old-timey photo of a postcard I copied is one I found in Fayetteville while at a store. It was a nice reminder that finding beauty in my home state has been around for a while. No date on the card, printed in Germany. Finally, the one picture that I took that really inspired me from the Smithsonian Botanical Garden is the picture with the giant container and tulips. I know you can appreciate a good container, and these were big. I could have sent a dozen, but I tried to contain myself. Thanks again for the opportunity to share with you and others about the beautiful gardens we can be inspired from. Jessica, this is from Jessica. This photo from the Smithsonian Gardens is really stunning. I wish I would have gone and seen those gardens when I was in that area. I did not. Although it was quite early in the season, there wouldn't have been a lot to see yet. But those gardens, every time I see something about them, they are really beautiful. Hi, Erin. My husband, my 3-year-old twins, and my 1-year-old and myself loved our visit to Lewis Ginter in Richmond, Virginia. The kids especially loved the butterfly house, but the highlight for me was the rose garden. I know you've put roses aside for now, but I think this garden could change your mind. Love your videos from Hot and Humid Zone 7. Forever envious of your evergreens. This is from Laura. Beautiful postcard from the butterfly garden there. And, you know, how smart is it? I'm so amazed that all these gardens have done things like butterfly gardens and have started doing children's garden areas. I mean, that's not the way gardens used to be. They weren't for kids to come to. And now think of all the kids whose first experience in a garden might be a butterfly garden. I mean, they're going to love that and remember that for the rest of their life. Hi, Erin. Here's my contribution to the postcard project. We recently traveled to Tucson, Arizona from Michigan. A stark contrast. I found it desolate and disconcerting. Weird to see cacti outside. The Desert Museum is a botanical garden, a treasure of native plants and flower. Everything is prickly. The Grand Canyon is a must-see. Awesome and wonderful, gorgeous. Words are inadequate. I'm really enjoying this postcard project. This is from Susan. Thank you, Susan. And so she sent some very cute, this is a postcard of prairie dogs. We've got the Sonovan Desert and the Grand Canyon, which I have never been to. She's right. That has to change. Hi, Erin. This is our second attempt to send you a postcard. Oh, wait, hang it. This is a new one. This is the new one from Katie and Matt. The other one must have gotten lost in the mail. No, it got lost by Mr. Much More Patient. I'm sure you've ventured to Morton Arboretum in Lisle, Illinois at some point, but if you haven't, you need to make a trip. Definitely a place to appreciate the deciduous trees and unique conifers. We go to their illumination display as a Christmas tradition. Our favorite is the display where the lights make the trees look like they're breathing. So peaceful. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Kate and Matt. And again, they're a suburban gardening couple on Instagram, and I love following them. I enjoy following Katie and Matt because I like following couples who garden, because it's quite interesting to me to see how that relationship works, because it's so not what I do. You know, I think I've told you before that, you know, Mr. Much More Patient kind of worries about the lawn, and by worrying about the lawn, I mean mows it and takes leaves off it, and then helps me, like runs behind me and picks up behind me, but everything in the garden is all me. It's just a very interesting thing to work in partnership with someone in a garden, because it's not something I've experienced. Hi, Erin and Impatient Gardener viewers. This is our local park. Elizabeth Park has the oldest public rose garden in the U.S. 120 years and counting. First rose of the season bloomed this week, May 10th. Peak will be in June. The park also has gardens for annuals, herbs, irises, and yes, even dahlias. Needless to say, I leave the fussy plants to the experts. Enjoy them here. Love what you do, Erin. Not sure how you get it all done. I've learned a lot from you, and my actual garden is much better for it. Thank you, Gretchen. Oh, what a really lovely compliment that is. I so appreciate it. Thank you so much. And look at the beautiful, absolutely beautiful climbing roses. I think maybe that's what I need to do. Just appreciate roses in proper rose gardens. Hi, Erin. Love your channel and have followed you for many years. I really appreciate your open, honest opinions and recommendations while sharing your garden journey with all of us. This past summer, my sons took me to one of my favorite places, the Grounds for Sculpture in New Jersey. We were there at the best possible time to see the lotus in bloom. It was a magnificent sight. It is a pleasure touring the grounds and seeing all the amazing sculptures surrounded by beautiful gardens. Here are some cards I picked up to share with you. Love from New Jersey. Condolences in the passing of Odin. He was such a wonderful addition to your garden family. Thank you for sharing him with us. Oh, that's really, really sweet. And this is a love, Ava, Zach, and Dylan. So thank you, Ava, Zach, and Dylan. And thanks for sending condolences on Odin, who we still really miss that boy a whole bunch. Okay, here are the photos. These are the bowls. These are cast bronze bowls. And she says, these are famous. Awesome in the field and grasses. Yeah, I would like that. Here's a beautiful sort of Monet type of bridge. More sights we enjoyed. Here's a gorgeous lotus. We saw these in full bloom. Such a sight. Magnificent. Amazing sculptures soaring above the garden grounds. Very beautiful. Ava, Zach, and Dylan, thank you so much for sending that. Again, my apologies for missing it until now. Look at this beautiful little package. Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh my gosh, and it's perfectly tied little bow here. Oh, okay, these have an order. 1. Hi, Erin, my garden has been mostly put to bed by now. So I thought it would be a good time to catch you up on some of the beautiful gardens that you inspired me to visit. Oh, this is going to be fun. This has been such a fun way to engage with you and some of the others who, like me, appreciate the Impatient Gardener. This is cherry blossoms on the tidal basin, part 1. A lot of folks went and saw those cherry blossoms this year. Back in the very early spring, my husband and I booked a cherry blossom visit to D.C. It was a spectacular time filled with cerulean blue skies, peak flowers, and lots of other visitors. That's the problem, isn't it? And between Smithsonian's, we enjoyed strolling through the United States Botanic Garden. This is the Washington Monument, taken in March. I love the juxtaposition of the cityscape, government buildings, and monuments with the beautifully designed intended gardens. We were so taken with the experience that when we got home, we joined the American Horticultural Society. That's a good organization, by the way, if you're looking for one. This is the U.S. Capitol as seen from the U.S. Botanical Garden. This was a great investment in our garden visiting future. Here's a tip for your followers who may not know this. Your annual membership, this is to the American Horticultural Society, gives you free entry to 345 gardens across the country. Yes, it does. We started at home with one called Blythewood Mansion Gardens and Arboretum. Blythewood is a historical 33-acre estate located on Narragansett Bay in Bristol, Rhode Island. It was built by an unpretentious but wealthy, unpretentious is in quote marks, but wealthy Cole family looking for a country place to dock their Herreshoff steamer yacht that wasn't in Newport, Rhode Island, which apparently was too pretentious. That's quite amusing. Some of Blythewood's notable features are the bamboo forest, a lovely Japanese garden, and the largest giant sequoia in New England. Who knew? We left the first time vowing to return often, and we have. Our next garden excursion took us to Boylston, Massachusetts to tour the New England Botanic Garden at Tower Hill. We enjoyed walking through miles of nature trails here and were especially taken by their cottage vegetable garden. My husband and I make an annual pilgrimage to Acadia, Maine, so we plan to visit the coastal Maine Botanical Gardens in Booth Bay. We will have to plan to return. We will have to plan on return visits here, as there were more than 300 acres of gardens that are constantly changing. Lucky us. This time, though, the dahlias were putting on a pretty show. We used to plan vacations centered around marathoning, but I now have to say that this has the makings of a kinder, gentler, and prettier obsession. This is from Pam, who put beautiful stamps all over this. That was the most lovely garden journey. What a good place that is to stop at, because I think I'm caught up now on postcards. Actually, no, I've lied. There is one. Once again, it's sitting in a different location, but there is one more hanging out there. Anyway, so if it's you, I'm sorry. Pam, that was quite a lovely thing, and I love that you're off touring gardens. And you know, I mean, I realize that you used to go around doing marathons, but I mean, you get a lot of walking in when you go to these gardens. By the way, Coastal Maine Botanical Garden, which several people have written in about, is one of the gardens that I've been to. I really enjoyed it. It was quite a lovely garden, and actually, that garden was quite nice because it's the same zone. I mean, it's a little different because it's coastal, but same hardiness zone as I am. So, you know, it's nice to know that I'm looking at things that I might be able to grow in some cases. And actually, the big apple cornuscusa that I planted that is now sort of encased in the mesh fencing was inspired by my trip to that garden, because I saw that they're a big mature one and loved it. And that's why I bought that. So there you go. Amazing postcards. You are all amazing. Again, I think I've apologized like 14 times in this video. I do feel terrible that some of these sat around. I'm so sorry. Thank you for writing in. Address is in the description of every video if you ever want to send in a postcard to share with everyone. It has been such a pleasure to do this project. I love how everyone's participating, and I don't know, what do you think? We should just like all take 2024 off and just go tour gardens? We could do that, right? The world's biggest bus trip, except I dislike riding on buses. So we'll have to come up with some other travel method. Hey, as always, thank you so much for watching. I love this community that has been created here. You're all amazing and supportive and wonderful, and I love that you laugh with me and get my humor, and that you participate in this project and share what's inspiring you. And it's so helpful to me. I'm inspired by the things that are inspiring you too. So that's a lot of words. I am very appreciative though. We will see you soon in the next video. Thank you for writing. Thank you for sending questions. See you soon.